And we are back. The next segment of matchups to break down here on the Week 13 episode of Testosterone Fantasy Sports. Jeff, the most talked about matchup is about to get kicked off. We tape our show here on Thursday night. We really can't talk a whole lot about it because by the time this airs, the junkies out there will already know what's happening. But, dude, I'm excited to watch the Cowboys host our arch rival Packers.
Tonight. I mean, we can talk a little bit about it. It might turn into being, stupidity or ultimate wonderful prognostication. But I'll tell you, I've been thinking about this game. These two teams are evenly matched. The obvious two best teams in the conference.
For sure.
And, I get the feeling that Brett Favre and his squad are going to go down and play a good game. But I think that there's a good chance that they lose this game, and that through that adversity, they learn what it takes to beat the Cowboys, and it won't be the same thing in the playoffs.
Interesting.
And I really believe that we're going to be watching Brett Favre in the Super Bowl.
Well, we'll see if my lucky streak on the betting goes right, because I got $10 on tonight's game with our good buddy Cabbage. You saw him on the show a couple weeks back, so I'm hoping that the Cowboys win tonight. I think it could be a potentially big night for the Cowboys running game. I think they're going to have to control the ball on the ground to try to keep Brett Favre off the field, because the Packers are going to be able to pass the ball against a secondary that has some weaknesses for the Cowboys. But we digress. On to the games that will have not played by the time this show airs. The first game we're going to talk about here, New England traveling to Baltimore to face a team that really has hit the skids offensively of late, even more so than usual. But New England last week struggling to beat Philadelphia. Jeff, did Philadelphia give the prototypical recipe to beat New England, or was that just a one-week game, New England back to their crushing ways here?
Well, their number one player is obviously Randy Moss so far in the season. And if you remember, I hate to bring it up, but the way that the Falcons beat us in '98 was by taking Randy out of the game. Now, Randy had, I think, 43 yards in that contest against the Eagles the other night, and that's prototypical how we lost. They took Randy out of the game by double and triple teaming him, and Brady was unable to fit the ball into the tiny little window that he had with Randy. He still got a few catches, but the rest of the team didn't step it up. And in my opinion, they should have gone to the running game a little earlier and let Maroney do some things. I'm surprised that they've got this kid. They keep holding back the reins on him. He's getting to the place where he's just itching to go for it. And they still restrict his carries, still restrict his touches. So I think if they would have translated over to the running attack a little quicker, that they may have won by a larger margin.
And it's interesting that you bring that up, Jeff, because as I watched the game, that's exactly what I was thinking too. I'm looking at this team. They come out, they spread the field out, they go four wide. It's almost like they've become accustomed to just being able to pass the ball all over the field against the other lackluster teams in their division, the Miamis, the Jets, the Bills of the world. But when they play a team that has a good secondary, Randy can be schemed a little bit out of the game plan. But, still, I think this points even more so to my idea that Randy is really the league's MVP this season. When you think about when they take him out of the offense, the air really goes out of the balloon. And kicking it back to 1998, Jeff, that's the highest scoring team, the Minnesota Vikings in 1998, highest scoring offense of all time. It's about to get broken this season by the Patriots. What's the common denominator there? 84, 81. Well, Randy Moss is the key. If he gets off, they blow up and win big.
And I'm inclined to believe you or agree with you, aside from a couple different things, and that's that I think that Bill Belichick kind of took Randy out of the game on his own by always going in the shotgun. I counted one game where in a half, Tom Brady was under center 3 times.
Right.
And you just eliminate the play action, and Randy is so good when you play action to like Lawrence Maroney type, or in '98 a Robert Smith, and then get Randy single covered because the safety jumped the fake,
Right.
And so if Bill Belichick would go back to traditional football and stop saying, we're going to pecker slap everybody that we play, I think that it would just go better for them on a traditional X's and O's type of a game.
And it almost feels like to me that that's what they're going to need to do against Baltimore. We know Baltimore brings the run D, has been exposed through the passing game. Earlier this year got ripped by Pittsburgh. I wonder if that's not what Belichick does in this game. Gives the ball a little bit more, steady diet of Lawrence Maroney. Look, he's totally healthy. I mean, he doesn't have, I don't even think he has 100 carries yet. So I think the Patriots get back into the big winning ways here. It's on Monday night. I like the Patriots in this game by 2 to 3 touchdowns.
I agree. I think the Patriots get back in a big way, and start all of your Patriots for now. It just makes a lot of sense. Keep Ben Watson in your lineup, and the Patriots defense is probably scoring at the highest level in the league, fantasy football wise. So keep going with what's working. It's working great.
Exactly. The Giants traveling to Chicago. The Giants, a team that absolutely collapsed last week, and the Bears, a team that came through in the clutch. We saw the biggest playmaker, or at least one of the biggest playmakers in the league last week, Devin Hester, show up. Jeff, 2 returns that realistically kept this Bears team alive for a playoff spot. I'm wondering if that wasn't just the spark Chicago needed to get back in the winning ways.
It's interesting to me because Cedric Benson now out for the year. So the fantasy pickup of the week is definitely Adrian Peterson, the other Adrian Peterson. Go on your fantasy waiver wire, just check and see if he's there. I got him in a league yesterday.
That's crazy.
And I'm telling you that I think there's a good chance that he's looking at this as a great opportunity for himself to get his name out there. The other Adrian Peterson, he can embrace that, get his dollar bills up a little bit for potentially going to another team, and also to try to make a statement that, hey, I'm the best back in this backfield.
Yeah, exactly. And the running game is so crucial here in this matchup, and it looks like the Giants are going to be without Brandon Jacobs here again. And I think Brandon Jacobs is, just like Tiki Barber was before, Brandon Jacobs is the key to this offense. When he's not in there early in the year, they definitely had their struggles. Then he came back healthy. They win like 4 or 5 games in a row. Now he's out of the lineup. They don't have that back they can give a steady diet to, and Eli kind of crumbles, especially now that Burris's ankle is just not right.
Yep.
I think the Giants are headed for another one of those second half slides.
I think there's a real good chance of that too, Jesse. And the thing mainly for me is the injuries. A lot like Eli's brother's team, the Colts, the injuries are just mounting up. They've lost OCU. No, they still have
Kiwanuka.
Matthias Kiwanuka they lost. They've been having struggles with the injury on the offensive line, and they can't keep people out of Eli's grill. We looked like the best blitzing team in the league against their offensive line. So the injuries, with Jacobs and Burris, and Shockey is injury prone a little bit. Plus, they've got ancient wide receiver Amani Toomer still trying to run out there.
Yep.
It just seems to me like the injury bit is causing this team to start to spiral downhill.
The one play that I do like in this game is the Giants' defense, because Rex Grossman is still under center. We saw it last week. He made some big plays when he needed to, but he's going to turn the ball over several times. The Giants, the one thing they can still do well is pressure the passer, and so I like their defense as a play here in this game.
One last thing about this game, too, is this is great for Viking fans because we need both these teams to lose. Frankly, it would be nicer for us if the Giants lost because they're ahead of us, but still, we're tied with the Bears right now, so to have them take a step back, that'd be money.
Exactly. Denver traveling to Oakland. Denver, the team that got its heart broken last week by the Bears. They were winning by 2 touchdowns with like 4 or 5 minutes left. They made some big mistakes. We've seen Mike Shanahan really look mortal at different times this year, getting absolutely blown out earlier in the year by the San Diego Chargers at home. This game was an embarrassment for him too, and I'm wondering if the Broncos don't right the ship here against Oakland, because, realistically, Colby Smith ripped Oakland last week. Oakland's D sucks.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm going to bring up a little something. It's a little bit of a sore subject for the both of us. The Rough League, okay? Salary Cap Management League. We both really enjoy it. Both of us in the same division, we've struggled because of our quarterbacking.
Yep.
And we've had injuries, both of us, and I know that your number one dog was Jay Cutler a few weeks ago. Well,
brutal.
you got sick of him. You traded for Bolger.
Yep.
A nice move at the time. Well, I, having quarterback problems myself, I picked up Jay Cutler, and I'm going to throw him against you, bro.
You got to do it, man. You got to do it.
We play each other here this last week of the season, and it's pretty much win or go home. So you're about to get a dose of your boy.
Well, yeah, that's all right. And if you want to find out more about what Jeff is talking about, check out my writers page on testosteronesports.com. Just click on the little icon with my picture on it. I have a story on there right now about all 3 of the games that I play against Jeffrey this weekend. It's a big week for me because not only do I play Jeffrey, my very best friend, 3 times in 3 of my fantasy football leagues, but it's also my birthday on Sunday, man.
Oh,
so
I know. Happy birthday.
I'm hoping for the clean sweep, and if it takes Jay Cutler going down in order to win that game in the rough, then I hope Cutler goes down. But realistically, I like all the Broncos here against Oakland.
I do too. I think that Broncos, who now have new life, I think that their team looking at possibly making the playoffs still, is going to play really hard here in this matchup and try to bring away the victory.
The one guy I like on Oakland's side, Justin Fargas, continues to run hard. I told you about a month ago that he was going to be for real throughout the rest of the season. He has been. Keep him in your lineup. The Broncos are not great at stopping the run. Last week, Benson was doing really, really well. Had like 44 yards in about a quarter against this D. So Fargas is a must-play. San Fran at Carolina. Do we really want to talk about this matchup?
No, not as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'll just turn over here and hurl. I mean, it's ugly. Although we could mention the resurgence of Frank Gore.
Finally.
And I do think there's a chance that he could be hot here at the end of the year just to show off his talent. I think he's probably a little bit bored, so he might want to go to the rock a little bit to finish the season. He makes a surprising, like, you know, if you would have bought low on him, then I think you could be well paid for that.
You could probably buy low with Steve Smith right now, but don't do that. Steve Smith not a factor for the rest of the year. I don't like Steve Smith here either. And on a sad note here, we're going to switch modes just a little bit. We are talking about the Buffalo traveling to Washington to play the Redskins, but realistically, this, Jeff, is just a terrible situation happening in the NFL. And as guys who really love the league, it's sad to see this, but of course we're talking about the Redskins safety, Sean Taylor, shot by a home invader in his home, shot in the leg, which normally you'd think not a life-threatening situation, but severed a huge artery that runs through your leg. I heard one doctor say that artery is as big around as your index finger, and it took Sean Taylor about 24 hours to pass after that terrible tragedy happened. So I know the Redskins are playing with heavy hearts. It's tough to talk about fantasy in a moment like this.
Yeah, you know, really, something like this does put things in real perspective, and our hearts and our prayers are out to the Redskins team because it's like a family, you know,
right.
And also the Taylor family. You know, he leaves behind an 18-month-old baby and a young girlfriend, and that's just sad for a player who I admired at Miami as a kind of a Hurricane fan. I really thought when he was drafted that he would develop into one of the best safeties in the league, and he was kind of on his way to that. I think he had distanced himself from some of the violent ways, and it's really sad to see an end like this.
Yeah, it really truly is. But when I look at this game, and this show is definitely about the game, so we have to talk a little bit about how this game is going to work. I think the Redskins, although they're playing with a heavy heart here, they're led by a tremendous man of faith in Joe Gibbs. And it's faith at times like this that helps people get through. And I got to believe that having a guy like that at the helm, it's going to help bring these players together. And Jeff, playing a weak defense like Buffalo, I get the feeling Clinton Portis is going to be running this weekend with an angel on his shoulder, man.
Yeah, you know, I think that the whole team can come together through this. And I'm really hoping so. It's so negative, you know. Their secondary is now so depleted, so they're going to yield some numbers through the passing game. So I guess I like Lee Evans, you know, in this matchup. Marshawn Lynch probably won't play again.
Yep, probably not.
I'm saying
again.
go Redskins.
Yeah, exactly. You know? I mean, at this point, if we were to falter as the Vikings down the stretch, the one team I'd like to see catch that final wild card spot more than anybody else would be the Washington Redskins.
Yep.
But you know, it's just tough to hear this type of thing happen. It definitely didn't need to happen, but now here we are left to deal with it. So our hearts and our prayers go out to everybody associated with Sean Taylor, his family, his child, and it's just a bad situation. So we want to leave this segment not on a down note, but we want to leave it on a somber note, and we just want to wish him and his family the best, and you'll be missed, Sean Taylor.
Different words describe different people. But in the eyes of the law, there's one that fits us all. Human right number 7. We're all equal before the law. What are human rights? Find out at youthforhumanrights.org.